A person's worth is not the length of their life, but the impact they have on the world. And so that's how I've kind of always saw it.
That's right.
I kind of sacrificed my purpose, which is always and foremost like my family, but it was the Army, it was a Green Beret, right? Your mistress. That's what it was for me. And that's kind of where my purpose was like towards the end of my career, I'm like, you want to know what? I think for my mental health, I need to get out. I need to focus on me, myself, and I. And within all of that is my family, because I realized being here for those 13 plus years was purpose. They're like, what is your purpose? And everybody's like, oh, family, God, country, all this type of stuff. But it's all bullshit, man. It really is. At the end of the day, it's like, no, what truly is your purpose? And it's always been my family, but I've casted them aside and I've made a decision for the military, being a Green Beret. So I recalibrated. I kind of understood kind of like what you guys talk about all the time, like mental health, resilience, and like personal transformation, right? I literally took those and I sat down, talked to my wife about it. We did like a little Carver matrix, right? And we were like, should I retire? Should I stay in? Surprisingly enough, she kind of got it right off the bat, and she started putting all those numbers in, and I got out, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to bring you one of the greatest Green Berets I've ever met. Certainly one of the smartest, Mr. Corey Crevier.
Thank you.
Mastermind, brilliant tactician.
Your next TED Talk. Okay, let's do it.
I know you were going to do one. I know for a fact in your future you're going to have a TED Talk. You are a 25-pound brain with a 17-inch cock, and it's girthy.
You want to know what my wife says? She's like, when's the next TED Talk coming? She's like, another TED Talk? And now my kids are starting to say it. It's like, oh my God. All right, let me bring that back.
Oh, man. Dude, how's it going, man?
Man, I would say, shit, man, we spent a lot of time together over the years, right?
Yeah.
I think our paths have crossed quite a bit through the Q course, through the warrant, through just
with SLC. I think
SLC, dude,
all the time, man.
Every step of the way, right? It is a small world, and you've been in it. So yeah, man, I think we've been kind of messaging over the last couple of years too, kind of giving updates and all that. I got out, I retired, now I'm doing like project management stuff, like the whole, whatever. Oh man, you'd be a great project manager. You'd be a leader, So, I kind of jumped right into that, looking for that, that easy button while I kind of figure things out. Right. But yeah, man, for all of this, right? Like I wrote a book. I'm writing several books while I have 50 million other things on my plate.
I knew it wasn't just one book. I know, ladies and gentlemen, this man casually drops on LinkedIn, oh, hey, I wrote a book. No big deal. I managed a full-time job, raising a family, teaching scholars, ancient languages.
I actually just got my MBA too, actually in December.
This is a theme, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not picking it up, Corey is one of the brightest dudes I've ever met. And it goes all the way back to, we were in selection together. You've always been brilliant, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. You've always been one of the best examples of what it really truly means to be a soft professional, because you prioritize the intelligence and the analysis part of it. It's not just about being the muscle bound dude that can run into a firefight and shoot 1,000 people. You are a great example and a shining example to all striving Green Berets of what it means to truly understand your mission. Truly knowing Corey means knowing what he's done, what he did as a, there's paths you can specialize in, but one of the stories about what you did prior to coming in to the warrant course and what you were managing at your level, at your organizational level, implementing logistics, supply chain analysis while you're, an E7. Like, that's insane, dude. Like,
yeah, I kind of, I appreciate you saying all that. I would say that the biggest thing that I kind of dealt with, it kind of when I came on here, right? I was like, yeah, my wife keeps telling me not to be silent, to be, outspoken, But I've been that throughout my entire career. I've been that silent professional instead of that quiet professional. And so, yeah, me because we went through the courses and, I have all these things, but I've never been really good about, talking about those things or, putting myself out there. This is what probably one of the first time in my life that I'm actually like putting myself out there, right? Because all these accomplishments, I'm not walking for my like I don't do any of that, right? I'm just like, okay, next thing, what can I do next thing, right? So it's like, so like I was ecstatic when you're like, hey, you want to come on the show? I was like, like why not? What a great opportunity for me to come out of my shell, even though you know me. A lot of folks know me because I go off of my reputation and everything I've done. Um, but not a lot of people know that, right? Especially when you're writing a book or when you're trying to market yourself, you start seeing that, that small little margin of like, actually, yeah, I know a lot of people, but I don't really get me
Yeah.
out there.
Well, dude, let's do it right. Let's give the
Yeah.
audience a good, honest, true retelling and accounting of where everything started for Corey. Take us all the way back to that kid.
Oh man. So yeah, man, I've followed your show for a while. I'm a subscriber and all that. So even like your
Yeah.
first show, everything you talked about, like your upbringing, like it's funny how we all come into that same circle, right?
Yeah.
Like, shitty dad. I met my dad died in Minneapolis in the snow because he was a drug addict. Like that's how I
Oh,
grew up.
fuck.
My mom was never there. So like the circumstances were not there, right? So of all accounts, like I should not be here. I really like I either came in the army or I could have gone down a different path, right?
Yeah.
So I went into the army. That was a way of getting out of the circumstances, right?
Dude, how much of a shitty friend. I always thought that Corey, you carried yourself so confidently in something I didn't have. I never admitted, I never had that confidence. It was always just sure brute force and just mimic. Like, I'm just going to pretend like I'm that guy. But
Yeah.
when I saw you, guys like you, Jacob Rodriguez, I don't know if you remember Jake.
Dude, I still talk to him.
Yeah.
I talk to him to this day.
Yeah. Those guys, like you and Jake, stand out to me as individuals that had a solidified understanding of their worth and value and confidence. And I was in the same platoon with Jake. He was a private when we first met, and then eventually became my peer. Like, I always looked upon you and Jake as these individuals that were, yeah, for lack of a better term, like larger than life. You carried yourself with, like, I was like, oh man, they must have had it all. Little did I know that Corey came from the same, almost
You
exact same background.
you wanna know what though? It's been spite. My entire career has been spite. Man, I wanted to be better than my circumstances, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
it's always been a "fuck you" attitude with everything in life. That's what it's
yeah,
kinda been, right?
yeah.
Like, I wanna get my PhD, and it's not for any reason because it's, I to me, it's pointless, right?
Shut up.
But
Same,
it but
same.
but you wanna know what? It's my wife is gonna have to call me doctor. That's the only that's the only reason. Literally, she's like, "I'm not gonna, call you that." I'm like, "Well, it's not, that's what's gonna happen, right?"
Yeah,
So, my
same.
my career
Absolutely.
my career has been based off of, spite, man. Like, people are like, "Oh, you're too small." I weighed like 107 pounds when I came in the army. "Oh, you won't go to airborne school." I went to airborne school, went to 82nd, did,
Yeah.
that whole journey, and
This episode of Security Halt is brought to you by Dr. Mark Gordon and Millennium Health Store. If you've listened to this show, you know how seriously we take brain health, recovery, and long-term performance, especially for veterans and high performers. Dr. Mark Gordon is one of the leading experts in neuroendocrinology and traumatic brain injury. And he's just released his new book, Peptides for Health. Both the medical edition, Volume 1, and a consumer edition, Volume 1, are available right now. The book breaks down how peptide therapy supports brain health, hormonal balance, recovery, and resilience in a way that's practical and evidence-based. You can get 25% off the book by using code PTH25 at checkout, valid through March 15th. And for Dr. Gordon's proprietary health products, Security Halt listeners can receive 10% off if they use the code PHASE2P. Click the link in the episode description to find out more and visit Millennium Health Store today.
And, this was kind of, being a Green Beret was a calling with certain like deployments where Ranger Regiment couldn't do things. So they're like, oh, 82nd. I was a young, soldier. I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, right? And it was like great experiences. And I'm like, oh man, I want to do that. And it wasn't because of like, oh, they had beards or anything like that. It was just like, it like goes off of a dumbass quote, right? Like I say this to my kids all the time. Like, like a person's worth is not the length of their life, but the impact they have on the world. And so that's how I've kind of always saw it. And I'm kind of continuing that journey. But even when I went to selection and I'm getting interviewed after getting selected, they're like, "Why'd you want to do this?" I'm like, "You know, to help people." He's like, "Why don't you join the Peace Corps?" And I'm like, "Well, not that type of help." You know, it was a great way, right? It was a great way to well, let me recalibrate what I'm going to say. You know, when somebody asks me, "Why'd you become a Green Beret?" Right? So it's like, so yeah, man, 18 Bravo, you know, we went through the Q course together, French, you know, easy. You think Crevier, I'd speak French. I do not. Um, you know, going to 10th group was a blessing for me, but I retired here. I've stayed here my entire career, which has been great. I was on a 0321. They ended up retiring the colors, you know, the team symbol, because you know they're you know downgrading teams to 6-5 in a company and all that. So I was able to stay on a team for a while. Went to the Jedburghs for a little bit too. Just nonstop deployments, right? Afghanistan, Europe, Africa, you know, you name it. And you know, people looked on me because that confidence, right? It's about spite. It's about, for me. It's also like another dumbass cliche again, another TED talk of like, if you see a seat that's open, fill it. So that's how I've always been, right? We didn't have an 18 Fox. I'm like, oh, let me do that. Right? You know, let's do all these things, and that's kind of what I've done throughout my career. So that means I kind of sacrificed my purpose, which is always foremost like my family. But it was the Army, it was a Green Beret, right? Your mistress. That's what it was for me, and that's kind of where my purpose was like, I want to be better. Like I want to be that person, right? Even though I didn't listen to. I was talking to my wife about this, like. I was, you know, we became those old guys, and then we're trying to give advice to the young guys. I remember being in the team room and going, "You need to take care of your health. You need to do this. You need to do
Yep.
this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. I just want to be a Green Beret." You know, it was like the mantra of like,
Yeah.
make money, fuck shit up,
Yeah.
you know, all those types of things. And it wasn't until later, and I remember giving the same speech to, you know, take care of yourself, all that type of stuff. I'm like, you want to know what? Let me stop this, because I was still that mindset at the beginning, and I'm glad I had that, right? Um, so yeah, just tons of deployments, tons of schools. Like I think I calculated it the other day. It was like 8 years between deployments and schools, and
Fuck.
every long course that you can, 18 Fox, you
Yeah.
know, ASOC, C, just absolutely
All
everything,
those.
right?
Yeah.
And then Jedburghs and like doing all that stuff. And I always felt that I was never prepared for a lot of things that I did. Um, but really my wife was like, yeah, you were. Most people are like, why didn't you make this decision earlier? And so I started getting towards the end of my career. I ended up taking one of the OIC positions for the level 2 sniper course here at Carson. And I'm just like, you want to know what, man? Like this mental health thing. I'm like, you think that I would um, understand it a lot more through like getting education in psychology, all that type of stuff, but because of my upbringing, I was just, you know, always suppressing things constantly.
100%, man.
Never wrote anything down. They're like, the first thing is go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody. Right? How many times have you been in a gathering and everybody's like bitching, complaining, because that's what Green Berets do, man. We're great at putting it out there, but what is the solution or resolution? So towards the end of my career, I'm like, you want to know what? I think for my mental health, I need to get out. I need to I need to do I need to focus on me, myself, and within all of that is my family, because I realized being here for those 13 plus years was purpose. They're like, "What is your purpose?" And everybody's like, "Oh, family, you know, God, country, you know, all this types of," but it's all bullshit, man. It really is. At the end of the day, it's like, no, what truly is your purpose? And it's always been my family, but I've casted them aside, and I've made a decision for, um, really, uh, the military, you know, being a Green Beret. So I recalibrated. I kind of understood, like, kind of like what you guys talk about all the time, like mental health, resilience, and like personal transformation, right? So I literally took those and I sat down, talked to my wife about it. We did like a little Carver matrix, right? And we were like,
Of course you did.
should I retire? Should I stay in? You know, da, 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 da. And surprisingly enough, she kind of got it right off the bat,
Yeah.
and she started putting all those numbers in, and you know, I got out, right?
Yeah.
super difficult, man. It was super hard for me because I didn't realize like my family was my purpose. They were always my
Dude,
purpose.
yes, man. Yeah.
And I didn't put them into the, the three buckets of
Yep.
personal self, family, and work. And I was just always like going around. I was never like, no, family. Family needs to go. So it's been so healthy for that because my wife has been such a huge supporter. I actually had a Saint Bernard that I ended up putting down this week because of lymphoma, but she was like a big rock, right? Because man's best friend, you can hug him, you can do. They're not asking anything from you besides, just love. So she had to be my dog that had to go. So huge Saint Bernard. So I ended up having to put her down, but that kind of helped me along the way. Was like being present, being active, my my dog, and then writing. I didn't realize that, right? I do all these TED Talks. I had these index cards throughout my career. It was like it's a stack. I don't have them with me, but just every little thing I've learned, every little snippets that somebody has told me throughout my career. I'm like, man, I really need to like write these. I need to write it down. So I started writing a memoir for my kids because they don't truly know me, right? Military, my
Yeah.
childhood. So I'm like, well, when they turn 18, let me give them this memoir, right? No one else,
Oh,
just
that's
them.
smart. That's so smart.
This is who I am, And I'm like, you want to know what? I kind of stopped before I went forward because, getting to OPSEC, security, all that type of stuff. I'm like, this would be a great story, storytelling concept. So I stopped and I just turned it right into, um, let me start telling a story. So there's a little bit of pieces of me in the book, but it goes through a tough upbringing. It goes through coming in the military. It talks about things that I started looking at other books, right? I started researching. I started going through everything. There's all these Green Beret books. I have them behind me, all that. They just don't, they talk about like the gunfighting, but they don't talk about like the human aspect, the psychological aspect, as well as with the gunfighting, right? That is part of like the CT and counterinsurgency concept. So it's kind of all of that, right? And it just goes through all those mental, psychological things that we all go through. You're like, goes through selection, Q course, not talking about everything because again, OPSEC and people need to go through those. But it tells a story that I haven't seen. I have not read it. I've read hundreds, thousands of books. I don't see it, right? So I wanted to tell a story that hasn't been told. No one wants to really put it out there because everybody again is a silent professional instead of being a quiet professional. So it's not for me, it's not like, SEALs, these prolific Green Berets and all that type of stuff that are in the community that are like, I need to get my name out there. I need to do all this. No, 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 no. Like, again, what impact have I had on the world? And this is part of it without me doing it, right? Because
Yeah.
my wife made an avatar the other day because I don't like to do this. I don't like even though I'm doing it. She made an avatar type thing, so I don't have to like,
Too bad. I'm going to make reels out of this for weeks. You're going to be out
yeah.
there.
Oh my God. Well, thank
I'm going to
you.
put you out there. Everyone's going to see you.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
going to put it,
yeah.
get an AI model, make you say some weird stuff. It'll
There
be
you
some
go, right?
controversy.
A female, I can, different changes, all that type of stuff. I'm all about it, man.
It is hard getting used to it, but you have to understand too, like the reality is this episode is brought to you by Pure Liberty Labs. Quality supplements designed to elevate your health and performance. Check out their full line of quality supplements, whether you're looking for whey protein, pre-workout, creatine, or a super greens drink. Pure Liberty Labs has you covered. Use my code Security Halt 10 at checkout today. You're writing something that has a different perspective, different take on what it means to get into space and talk about this type of work. For the longest time, if we weren't reading an authentic, autobiographical encounter of a famous Green Beret, you don't get the background. You don't get the stories of guys that come from impoverished and low, low income housing, government cheese. You don't get those stories because the stories we get that are made up, it's like the kid, the all-American quarterback kid, a white kid named John Michael Smith, best of the best, brightest. That's not the fucking truth. That's not modern day truth. We have great Green Berets like that, but the vast majority of guys that are attracted to this difficult, challenging life, whether it's Rangers, SEALs, PJs, CCTs, or Green Berets, are dudes with a post-traumatic growth, that arc, that point where everybody else failed, went to jail, became a drug addict. These guys said, no, there's something better. I
Dude,
think I
own the
can do
miss,
it.
man.
Yeah.
It is, man, and that's how I see it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I see all these things throughout my life, and again, like this is this the first time a lot of people have known this. Some people find out when we're like driving in the Humvee or something like that. They're literally like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, man, there's a reason why I became a Green Beret, man. There's a bunch of criminals, man. It's a gray area, right? Like, I lived that for so long, being homeless as a kid, you know, being with my dad on the side of the road, just asking for money, all that type of stuff, right? Like moving constantly, being a nomad, whether it's Michigan, Florida, just Las Vegas, man, you name it. Like that was kind of my life. So really becoming a Green Beret, going to Sierra, like it was a joke. It was a joke because that's how I grew up. I grew up, dealing with the concept of like, well, what can I do to manipulate somebody today? What can I, what can I do,
100%.
To eat, those types of things, right? So it's like,
You're literally the epitome of the psychological profile of what they want. There's that white lady with glasses going, yes, Corey, perfect.
yeah,
Get him in.
I'm telling you, that's why like some of the courses were so easy because I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't make sense, right? Like, no, but you should be doing it this way. And then most of it was acting. I mean, that's what I was doing as a kid. So it's like, well, let me get into this role. Let me get into this. Let me go start a conversation. I can tell you, man, like I hate people. Like I hate people. But as a Green Beret, what are you?
You're a people
you deal
person.
with the human terrain. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my wife thinks it's so funny because I would rather sit here, watch some Law and Order, watch, some basic things. I'll watch The Office, watch the same things constantly because I'm just like, that's who I am. But my wife is the polar opposite. So she has forced me. She's like, no, go do this, go do this. So it's like, I hate it, but she's like, do what you're good at. Because even when I started this journey of getting out, talking to a counselor and all that, she was like, do not get into a job where you're just like entrenched with talking to people. Don't do it. Do not. It's going to be mental fatigue, burnout, all this types of things. And I'm like, you want to know what, lady? I'm already there. Like, I'm already there.
That's my life, baby.
That's my life. Yeah. And she's like, okay, what's the happy medium? I'm like, being a bookkeeper so I can control numbers, not people. And she's like, yeah, but you still have to have some type of interaction. I'm like, yeah. And so I just had a really good, coach that had a job for me being a project manager. I'm like, I got out and kind of did that. And I kind of moved into like being a project lead and, some other areas. And this whole book writing has always been a kind of a side gig, right? Because you're putting pen to paper. I actually had a conversation with a buddy I didn't talk to in like 15 years. 15 years he called me because it showed that I wrote a book, put it on Facebook, and he was in the same platoon as me back in the 82nd days. And I'm like, no, if you're not a poster child to go talk to the VA, hotline, I don't know what else is. But I'm like, you want to know what the first thing you should be doing? First off, you're reaching out to me, which is good. Second thing, you need to start writing this stuff down, man. Like, I don't know how therapeutic it is. I do know, but like, I don't know the extent of it until I'm always, I get my own TED talk in my own head and, writing all of it down and seeing it. I'm like, okay, like this is good for me. This is really good. My wife sees it, there is a transformation of my mental health. And like building my confidence up even more because I'm always like, I'm not good enough. Right. I always want to do this next thing. Right. And I have those insecurities. My kids don't see that. The first time they saw me cry was my dog dying.
Your dog.
And they're just like, oh my God, that was a huge moment for them. Right. But because, Corey, just like, you started out, right? Like I'm that TED talk. I have this going on, I want to be that strong person because that's how we grew up. We want to put that face on. And I'd say that's mostly everybody, right? Nobody wants to be vulnerable. It's our evolutionary trait.
But it's such a strength, man. That's the thing I didn't realize and why I tell guys like the strongest thing, the greatest thing you can do for yourself is find, whether it's a doctor, your wife, be vulnerable and divulge what you're going through. And it's not my concept. I had to get it from Brene Brown. And again, 90% of the audience is still to this day saying, who the fuck is Brene Brown? And I will tell you, Brene Brown is one of the greatest voices out there. She is a great author. But it's just hard to get guys to read it because it's a woman and she talks about feelings and she talks about being willing to sit with them and being able to embrace them. And shout out to you, Brene. I will someday get you on the show. I am tired of talking to your publicist and your scheduler. I'm going to get you on here someday. Someday.
Dude, I'm all about it, but it starts with like, it's and I'll keep saying, man, it's about recalibrating. It's about understanding yourself.
Yeah.
And again, like this is the first time I've been putting myself out there. So a lot of guys are going to be like, wait, whoa. Well, Corey, this isn't you. And I'm like,
this is not you. He's in distress.
No, I'm doing the sear, the eyes, blinking and stuff like that. But it's like, I can tell you, like, I've been doing this for so many years of just like giving guys advice, and guys will call me, and I will take my time and attention. I will give it to anybody, right, that wants to listen. And sometimes I'm like, oh, hold on, I'm doing a TED talk. Let me bring it back. But, I think that my wife tells me all the time, because again, she's just such a big rock for me. We've been married for like 19 years.
Oh, that's right. You guys have been at it from day one.
For a really, it's been a hard 19 years. I mean, that's what marriage and, just being with somebody is. But she's always been like, no, this is your strength. This is like, no, like, you just keep talking, keep doing those types of things. And so, I do it with my kids. They, I had these rules, all that, being a sheepdog, wolf, a sheep, and then being a coyote. Like, I have all of like these concepts that I'm constantly, trying to instill in my kids. So my kids are starting to do the same thing. Like, what is a leader? What is this? What is this? And it's like, I think for like the last I've been out for almost 2 years this April. I've been able to control the controllable and like influence the variables, right? And that's something that I haven't necessarily been able to do throughout my career, besides like controlling schools, those types of things. But it was always spite. It was always like that fuck you attitude. Somebody's like, you're too small, you're all that. Because, dude, I remember being the biggest guy on my team or the smallest guy on my team at one point, carrying somebody 200 pounds, I'm like weighing 160. So I'm like, but it's pure spite. It's pure like, go fuck yourself. That's just always in the back of my head. And so whenever I'm like feeling like man, I'm not peaceful within myself. I'm just always like, you want to know what? Fuck that person. It's kind of like Matthew McConaughey, right? Like, who's your hero? I'm always like that, but it's not 10 years. It's like a minute from now. What can I do? But I also think that it's like, now that I'm old, and I talked to my wife about this the other day too, and I always bring up my wife because I always bring up these little things to her, and she's like, "What? Where did this come from?" Because I have to write these things down, man. I have a notebook. Like I always have like sticky notes. I have them all over the place.
I do the same thing, but I've learned that I have to use the iPad. Otherwise, I lose everything now. I lose every notebook.
At work, dude, I have all these sticky notes all over the place. People are like, well, I'm organized, but I'm like, I'm always, who's your hero, right? And it's me, but it's not me at the same time. It's like, it's the people that are around me. It's my kids. It's my family. Yep. And when I see them succeed and I see them making the right decisions, it makes me feel better, because I don't make the right decisions. No matter what I've done in my career, they've just been opportunities. That's all they are. They're not decisions, they're opportunities. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that opportunity. But really, my decision, I would have, probably, be in solitary confinement right now, not talking to anybody. That would probably be the most optimal thing for me. Maybe having a cabin in the woods, but my wife won't allow that. I won't allow that. My kids won't allow that. So I do things that I'm very uncomfortable, right? But I think I've learned to gauge it, my strengths and weaknesses, and know when, like, hey, let me kind of walk out. Let me do this. Let me kind of, but you still see my, we started this with like, I just got my MBA, I wrote a book. Like I'm constantly being a better Green Beret, because I don't know about you, man. When I don't want to have anything to do with the military. I want to have zero, nothing with the community, with zero. I want to let that go in my life, right? It's obviously not the case.
No. For me, it was very much like, I know I'm walking away from this, but now I'm so intimately tied to the inbox of somebody reaching out for help. I thought leaving, because my wife's still active duty, so we had to move to Alabama. I thought leaving the physical location would mean finally I can, even though I felt like I've developed my true identity, I felt like I needed to go physically away. This episode of Security Halt is brought to you by Dr. Taylor Bosley and Precision Wellness Group. Let's be real. By now, a lot of New Year's resolutions have already fizzled out. Life gets busy, motivation drops, and health ends up on the back burner. But here's the truth. There's no better time to start than right now. Precision Wellness Group specializes in hormone optimization and hormone health, delivering personalized care and treatment right to your door. If you've been dealing with low energy, brain fog, poor sleep, or stalled performance, hormone imbalance may be the missing piece. Dr. Taylor Bosley and his team take a data-driven, individualized approach to help you get back to operating at your best. Security Halt listeners receive 25% off their initial consultation when they use Security Halt 25 at checkout. Click the link in the episode description to find out more and get started today. What I realized, like, I can do all the work and put that behind me and be a completely different person, but my love and devotion for the community and for individuals, like, it is 100% there, man. I will answer the phone. I will answer the inbox with any Green Beret. Like just yesterday, man, a first group Green Beret out of nowhere got my information and reached out because he's in it. He's in the fight and he's alone and there's not another Green Beret. Fuck that. You're not going to go fight through some of this stuff by yourself. You deserve to have another brother with you. And if I'm available, it'll be me. I promise you that, because there's nothing greater than being part of the Brotherhood. You don't have to be in service. And there's so many of us, retired, old timers. We're all part of the Brotherhood. And that's what I realized. Like, being of service is who I am. 100%. Whether it's running through my own business, whether it's through the podcast, or whether it's just talking to a brother and helping them feel like there is a tomorrow worth staying here for. Because that's what I realized. That's what I really wanted. Because it goes, and just like you, it touches back to that kid in childhood that didn't have that person, man. If I would have had that one coach that would have witnessed and saw what was going on at home, that would have been willing to get involved. That's every little kid that's out there struggling was wishing somebody would get involved and be there for them. And that's what I realized ultimately. That's if I can do that for somebody else, then it helps me heal and take care of that for myself. So that's when I realized, like, you have to transition, but if you can be of service to the community, gotta be there, man.
Yeah, that probably took being a warrior. I'm sorry. I think I saw it more, right? Because guys were looking up to you. They wanted advice and all that.
Yep.
Which was good, but I didn't want to be, especially a Green Beret, because I would say it's good and bad in our community. Like, we strive for excellence. So if somebody is going through a mental illness, they're going to strive for excellence in that illness, man. Like, they will go to the extreme. I can tell you, like, I'm going to send you the book. You're not going to like chapter 15 because people in our community, they strive for excellence. That's what they do, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in the battlefield, all those types of things. It's a learning, concept, but we strive for excellence. So if somebody's going through suicide, man, they're going to strive for excellence, which is good and bad at the same time, right? But I think, like, for us, it's, I think it's so cliche for, like, most people in our organization to be like, "Oh, we're masters at the human terrain." Okay, let's time out for a second. Let's hold on for a second. Okay, that's not the case, and I would argue most Green Berets are not like that. I would say maybe a third kind of are in tune with, like, other people's feeling, psychology, those types of things. And then 1/3 is actually somebody that can actually go and control, influence, talk to people, do those types of things, right? And that's what, the Green Beret concept is, outside of being a force multiplier and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like, for the guys that are those 1/3 type of a guys that we were, we've been able to do that, right? Control, influence, make people better. I know we're outside of the community, but we're also still in it, because I still get a bunch of phone calls just like you do. So we're still doing that in one way, shape, or form. But the mental fatigue, the burnout, not understanding, like, really controlling the controllable, what guys can do. I think people are very helpless to a lot of that, because I hate the concept. Like I remember somebody an E6 Echo. Oh my god, I forget his name time, but he's like, I don't know what I don't know, and I'm like, well, why don't you know? And like, then why don't you be proactive and figure it out? You know? And I'm like,
It's the wrong fucking answer,
I'm like,
Chief.
what is going on right now? But you want to know what? I didn't take into account like his age,
Yeah.
his medical capacity, like how he grew up, and I started getting to know him a little bit more, and I started injecting those little things, right? Those little motivators, those little TED talks, and then he started doing better. And I'm like, I started seeing these things, and he's like, oh, I want to do this, and so that wasn't just in the warrant, but that's being whether it's in the on an ODA or being in the Jeds. I didn't do any SWIP time or anything like that. I wanted to be on a team my entire career, which is great and bad at the same time. But I wanted to do like that concept. Like I wanted to have an impact, and so I just chose maybe not the right path, but it was also the right path. I mean, I've gotten to influence. I've gotten to change the world. Every large thing that has happened in the world, I've had my hand in it up until now. So it's like actual change, actual like things that I didn't realize until talking to other friends of mine off. They're like, no, man, that's awesome. You've done this. I'm like, yeah, but I don't see I guess the positive impacts because I'm just like, oh, it's another day. It's just another thing. It's another thing. And I've never been really humble. I was in a job interview one time and they're like, what is one thing that you could change about yourself? I'm like, being humble about myself, you know, talking about myself, the accomplishments, those types of things. That's what one of this, that's what being on this podcast is as well, is talking about me. I'm not good at it, man. I'm not good at it. And that's why I was drawn to you earlier on in the Q course, all of that, even through the Warren courses, because you are outgoing. You are the opposite of me. So we were always drawn to each other, even though we sat on the other side of the room.
Yeah,
we were still, we look at each other like, what the fuck are we? We still have a connection because it's like that yin yang, right? Like I am introvert, you're extrovert, but we're also extrovert, whatever that in between is, words today. So it's like, I fed on that because you were outgoing. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to be around that guy.
Yeah.
Because he gets me out of my comfort zone, right? But again, you were also going through things I didn't know. I was going through things because it's just not what we talk about
that's the thing, man. Like
in the Brotherhood, dude.
Yeah. If we would have been able to sit down and be like, hey, man, let me give you some background information on who I am and why I work this way. Like it doesn't happen. It never works that way. This is life. You go decades before you realize that someone that was a friend of yours has the same background as you.
I'm telling you, it's those older guys. You don't listen. You don't listen up front. You're like, fuck it. And you get older and you're like, I probably should have listened. But you want to know what? I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I learned this later because you're able to experience all these things. And you're like, man, you want to know what? That draws us even closer.
Yeah.
We're touching tips, man.
That's
and
right.
We don't even
Frequencies.
know it.
We're synced.
We are, man. So it's like, that's why it was like really awesome that like you reached out and I'm like, dude, I don't show it, but I'm nervous, right? Like, I am. Like,
you're a
my
calm operator.
You're good, right? You're good at talking. I'll be at work and I'll just be like, talk, in the moment, all that. But it's like, dude, I'm nervous. I'm not used to doing these types of things, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, hopefully I'm not like slurring my words or I'm saying the same thing or, or
I'll give you an industry secret. The first thing you have to remember is that you're doing this just to have an interaction with a friend. I literally think of this as me in a team room. The way I visualize it in my mind, when this thing turned into just me and a guest instead of me with the co-hosts that I started with, it's just me in a team room now. It's just me talking to a friend in the team room. And I get all these, I'll bring somebody on that maybe they haven't been in a podcast before or they've been on different ones. And they always ask like, hey, could I get a list of the questions you're going to ask with the outline? And I'm like, no, authentic, in the moment, purpose-driven conversation. We're hanging out in a team room and we're going to talk. I will do my due diligence and I will look some stuff up about you so I don't say the wrong name or have the mispronounce something, but I'm not going to dive into your entire biography because I don't want my memory to be tainted prior to going in there. I want to just engage with you. And I think if you take it that way, and every host will have their thing, you might get, who's to say that your next interview won't be with Sean Ryan, or it won't be with some big like Andy Stumpf, and they'll give you a format. Like, the reality is, no matter what happens, no matter who you go talk to, just engage with them like you're talking in the team room. Like, you have this amazing story, a lived experience that people want to hear. People want to know everything about your life. And this is just a teaser episode, because who's to say that you won't go into a full 4-hour interview detailing everything
Okay,
you've
I
been
mean, I
through?
have to take off my sweater. I'm sweating in. I don't know
Well, see,
about
that's a
that.
great thing when you
Yeah.
do it in person.
Yeah.
Because we'll be moving back down to Florida, so I'll be back in my studio. But you're more than welcome to fly down, and we'll make a full day of it.
Yeah,
But
we have plenty of family that live in Florida. I don't know if I like Florida, but, I know you're in Syracuse, and then, I do like my
well,
mountains.
we're on the water. We're on the water. We'll make it worthwhile. We'll
But
go take
but
a paddleboard out.
you say you're like, this is this is humor, all that type of stuff. I was on teams with like really good buddies of mine, Brett Bowser and TR Beasley. And I remember like I'd be briefing, I'd be doing something, and they'd be like, "Oh, you said like 10 ums, or you said, some shit like that." I'm like, "Man, you guys can go fuck yourself, you know?" Like, but it's helping you. And I'm like, "Dude, that's my comfort blanket. Like, get off of me, right?" And so and then I started doing that throughout my life, because of this team. But it's that interaction, right? Because I could say, no, with all due respect, or no, yeah, you're fucking awesome. I love you guys. You can go fuck yourself. I'm like, that's kind of that's kind of been me. I'm always like, I always do that with everybody. Like, I talk to them like they're human beings. Um, I really don't care. I remember being in a job interview, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't know. I'm like, you're supposed to be selling me your company, not, you already have me in front of you. And I remember this conversation because there was like a whole panel of people, and I'm like, I don't need this job. This is not, no, because I kind of learned over time is just being with these guys on the team is like, if you can't just talk to somebody and be real, if you want to be fake, cool. And I've had, guys like that on a team, just like you have, just like everybody else has. But it's like, I'm real. What you get from me right now is how I am every single day. So I'm so glad you don't have questions, because I would have been like, okay, cool. Probably not going to use those questions because, again, that's spite, right? Like, I'll probably, skirt some of that, but it's just like, I'm all about being very, me.
Yeah.
There is like that, cloak and veil concept, because not everybody's going to get the full fledged, but if you know me, and that's why it's good, right? Like, because we've been in a lot of schools, all that type of stuff. So this interaction, it's very comfortable, right? So, I was able to tell you things I don't normally tell people on the first date, those types of things. But I think it's good at the same time, because I've never been in like that concept of like a crawl, walk, run. I've always been like a jog, run, sprint type of a person. Um, and I'm always looking for, like, again, not a challenge, but an opportunity, because challenges are hard, man. Like, I don't want like 50 million challenges on top of me. I'd rather have an opportunity that could lead to a challenge, or could lead to something else. Um, and people may say, you have opportunities or challenges, challenge or opportunities, but I see them as different just because of I I I don't like challenges. I'd rather be in my comfort zone. I'd rather just call it an opportunity. Because this is a challenge for me. And I'm glad you're putting me into this. Because it's good for me, because I'm, writing a book and where I want to go, what I
You want
want
to
to
be
do.
want to make it a
Um,
$1 million endeavor, man. You got to
y-
sell it.
because it's not just this book, because the book is like a 4 series thing.
Oh shit.
So this is only book one. This is just like Afghanistan, Syria. The next book is going to be Europe, Eastern Europe. The third book is going to be Africa,
Okay.
and then the fourth book is going to be, that's it type of concept.
Okay.
Um,
Let's dive into this a little bit, man.
yeah,
Let's set the theme for us. Give us some background, and give us a little bit of a teaser about this book. Uh,
yeah. It is, right. It's like that upbringing, your process through selection. So it talks about the 21 days, not the 14 days. Just everything that is going through his mind. Is it good
Yeah.
enough? Those types of things. The Q course.
And I'm assuming it's present time. So this is like,
Yeah. So this is all present time. The books will go like future, right?
oh,
Like,
okay.
it's like it's past 2019, and then it keeps going, right, all the way to 2030. Those types of concepts. Because I base it off of authentic things, right? A lot of research and discovery, if you will. So he goes to a team. They ask all the same questions, like why did you join us up? All those types of things, right? He goes on his first deployment. He gets the taste. These opportunities come up, challenges, more deployments, more sacrifice. You keep seeing sacrifice, right? So you see this, what the hell is the word? Protagonist. There you go.
yes, there we
Protagonist.
go.
His name's Ryan Kane, and you're feeling for him, but you're like, why does he keep making this? Why does he keep putting himself into these decisions, right? Why he's out of the fight, but he keeps thinking about getting back into it, right? So you see a lot of that going back and forth. You see like death. You see like you start getting into intelligence operations like before that trigger is pulled. And then when that trigger is pulled, like you see just everything, that full circle of an ODA concept, right? And then all of these guys in the ODA, you see like, he can't say no to like one of the guys on his team because they've created that bond. He thinks that taking a break is going to be an instructor. You know what I'm saying? Like those are all the things that we all, oh my God, all the pitfalls, right? But he gets pulled right back in, and it's like, you just keep seeing all of this. And then he makes a decision. You're like, I'm going to get out, that 10-year, E6, E7, he's like, I'm going to get out. What does he do? What most of the guys do? I'm going to go into contracting work, right? I'm going to go, work for the agency. I'm going to go so that's how the second book comes into play, right? But all of those little pieces come into play, and it goes into, like I said, death, but like personal death. He has a brother. He sees his brother coming up from those circumstances, but he has alcohol issues. So it's just almost everything you can think of that a Green Beret deals with in one book. Now there's still 3 other books, right? Because there's still so much of these stories that have not been told, because it's always, I'm in Afghanistan, I'm in a patrol, boom, shot, bang, boom, bang. So it's like, it's more than that, right? There's so much more. And it's about the weight that I feel that like the Green Berets truly have. Because I would tell a lot of young guys, I'm like, everybody's like, oh, I want to, get into combat. I want to see death. I want to do all these types of things. I'm like, you want it until you have it, right? And then when you have it, you're like, fuck.
Bro, that's so crazy. Like, it's trying to explain that concept, but one of the things that I've come across with more often than not with younger Green Berets are experiencing, they're going through a crisis. They're struggling and wrestling with the idea that they're not worthy, they're not enough because they didn't get it. And it's like, bro, like, it's life. Like, you should be like, you're still a Green Beret. You're still in one of the greatest professions. You still have the ability to do some amazing things. Why are you so focused on missing out on a war that, by and large, come to find out, it's not what you think that, like in the movies depicted. It's not.
So you bring up such a good point, because most people, and I see that throughout like a lot of the young organization now that's coming in, it's like they want to feel the way that somebody feels in the movie, right? It's like, okay, you shoot your gun and you're like, okay, now I'm supposed to feel sad, and and it's like, I remember, being in a just my ID, all this type of stuff, and then our Bravo, got his arms and legs broken. See him in the hospital the next day. I'm like, you're alive, all right, bro. And then like, okay, let's move on, right? He's alive, right? Obviously, he's going through a lot of things, those types of things, but it's a lot of guys now, it's like they're mimicking what they're seeing, because that's our reality, right? It's everything's on our phone, and they're like, okay, I'm supposed to feel sadness after I pull it. You've been paid to pull the trigger, first off, number one. Okay, number two, let's get another scenario in your head, and let's kind of build on that, and kind of let's learn from that. But just our young organization, I feel it like they're like, oh, I missed the fight, I missed all that, and I think goes towards like education as well. Is that it's not just about getting into the gun, and it kind of sucks, right? Because most of us that say that, we've gone through all of that, so it's kind of easier, and it's like, oh, you're that old guy,
Yeah. You got
whatever.
yours. Of course you'd say that.
Yeah, it's good you did that shit, and I'm just like, you might know what, man? I'm like, now let's have a real conversation. We start having a real conversation, and there's like, oh shit, yeah, I didn't want to have a real conversation. I'm like, okay, well then, let's kind of give and take here then. And I remember like some of the guys like Valor Awards, all that type of stuff, and I was right up to the awards, and I'm talking them through some of this stuff. 'Cause I over communicate. I don't overshare at some points. Here I'm oversharing, um, but I'm like talking them through all of this. I'm like, hey, let's kind of like talk through all this. A lot of them, they came home, they started going down the wrong path or back on the same path. They became really great team sergeants, really great operators. But it's just like some of them, it's just like they couldn't get past that one thing, right? And that's just what we don't have in our organization is something like that. Besides, you go talk to somebody and you go talk to somebody, but it's like, are you really talking to somebody? Because really, when I go in, I'm like a little reserved. I'm like, I don't want to. There's a lot of things that we're trained to do that we do.
Deception. Yeah.
That's what we do. That's what I've been doing my entire life.
I
So
did
now
it
you're
for a
telling
long
me to go
time.
talk to somebody. I'm like, okay, let's go do this. And then when you do become vulnerable, it's like a disease. It's like shame. It's like all of that, right? So I had to work through all that, and now I talk to a lot of guys about that. I'm like, yep, you feel that way. It is shame. It is those things. You're going through the same emotions that everybody else does. I'm like, that's great. I'm like, feel that way. I'm like, well, what can we do to, I don't want to say to move forward because I'm all about living in the moment, but what can we do to chase our hero? That's what I'm like, what can you do tomorrow to chase your hero tomorrow? Like, do you want to meet your hero tomorrow? That's what I want to do. It's not 10 years from now because I want to make sure I'm making the right decisions now and not something that is like over time that I can't control. Because right now, time is not our friend. So you're trying to control the future, which means you're always thinking about the future instead of the present.
Yeah.
So I'm
and that
like,
leads to more suffering.
oh my God, yeah, man. So
Yeah.
I kind of bring it back. I try to get guys to be as vulnerable as they can, just like you do, especially with this bond. Because I've seen like Cody Half pop on, I've seen
Yeah.
all these guys on, I've known Cody for a long time, and
Dude, what is amazing. We got to pause it and give that man a shout out because there are a few individuals that do more for the Brotherhood, and Cody's just remarkable at it, man. That dude is always reaching through the void, helping people. Shout out to you, brother. Like I don't that dude should be friggin' like I don't know why he's not on the he should be part of the command team at 10th Group. He should have his own command suite.
now he did add me to a fucking chat group where, it's like jobs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dudes and all that type of shit. I'm like, dude, another one? I'm like, God damn it, it's good for the community, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, damn it, I gotta put this thing on fucking silent.
I know. I told him we got to move this to Slack. Shout out to you, Slack, the perfect place to build a channel and optimize
Slack,
it.
man. Because I ended up having to do 2 chats because it was still without. Apparently, you can only have. There's a cap.
Yeah, there's a cap of people.
There's a cap of people. I didn't know that. I'm like, well, I'm glad I was part of the first part, but just dude, like I'm part of like a small little group, just 3 of us.
Hell yeah, it's an LGOT, baby. Yeah, a little group of paratroopers.
Yeah, man. And we talk about some of these things quite a bit, and then we talk about the regiment. We talk about just like the nonsense, if you will, about what's going on. About most of these group commanders or company commanders coming in, they're like, my first value is trust. My second is communication. I'm like, so somebody hurt you. Something's wrong that you don't trust. Do you not trust somebody? Are you not good at communicating? We have these conversations all the time, and I'm just like, dude, man, that personal transformation is terrible in our organization. It's terrible when we get out, and I'm trying to be a little bit more vocal into it. And I hear guys that are still in that. It's it's the same concept. And I'm like, man, what can we do to promote wellness, change, fucking leadership, like something, right? Instead of like, it just keeps repeating, repeating, and repeating. And I think for something like what you're doing, as far as like these podcasts or somebody you can just like tune in. And I like how you do like these little snippets, those little reels and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff that you're like, oh, wait, attention grabber. Like, wait, what did he say? What can I get more out of that? Let me get the entire TED talk, if you will. That's where I think this is like, because I see them. I see those little ones and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, makes sense. Cody says something like that, or
Yeah.
it made sense, Scott, or like anybody that you have on. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. And then you get to see the entire episode, and you're like,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
worth it,
I
man.
already kind of knew that.
Yeah.
I already knew that from them. But it's good that they're able to like put it out to the
Yes.
masses, because it's like, yeah, I'm writing this fictional concept and all that type of stuff, and then there's like a parallel to research, discovery, authenticity, those types of things, right? And then my wife, because I do these damn TED Talks all the damn time with her, because I put things out to see what makes sense. I'm like, I ended up, because I keep putting myself out there, right, to be that quiet professional. And those index cards that I talked about earlier, of like just all of these great things that I've learned over time, where I've recalibrated or I've made my own. Um, I'm writing. I just wrote 2 books that I'm going to launch in April, called one is
Whoa.
Control the Controllable and Influence the Variables, and then the
2
second
different
one,
books?
dude, yeah, and it goes to like control the control. It's like these things that I've learned
Yeah.
that are just not out there. And then the second one, it's based off of a dude that was on my team, Andy Riz, Drew. He I used to always tell people, I'm like, stop taking my time and attention, man. God damn. Like, God damn. And he's like, yeah, and waste it. And I'm like, man, that's a great book title. And so, I ended up writing a book that's "Don't Take My Time and Attention and Waste It." And I'm just sick and tired of, even in the
How are you
what I'm doing.
publishing these? Are you self-publishing on Amazon or?
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I ended up just creating a website too. It's going to be written under fire.
Okay.
www.writtenunderfire. I did the whole website myself. I did all that stuff myself, and it goes into like it's like scenario and then learning something, questions to ask yourself, of just like just again these
Yeah.
index cards of just things that I've learned. So that's where I kind of started. Right, it wasn't just my memoir, but I started like this little
I love that.
blog.
That is. I was just gonna ask. Do you have a blog? Because
Dude, yeah,
this is the type of shit I love reading about.
Yeah, so a blog, and then it has like, dude, I have all these ideas, right? But there's like 20 something just things on these index cards that kind of blossomed out. Pretty much everything I talked about here is like all in this blog, but I'm moving into those realms of like, again, it's like, it's not about, I feel like I don't have enough time, like we all do, right? We have our own internal struggles, but it's like, what legacy, what impact can I have? Not only, what I can control, my family, but like people around me. Cause I only want to put good people around me, right? Like people that, give me heartache. Yeah. Come around me, but people that are just toxic people, like, man, I'll give you like 5% of my time. Like really at this point in my life, I'm just like, let's kind of like move on. And so all of these books, a buddy of mine, Corey Heisen, was reading it, and he's like, so am I going to learn a lot of lessons from this, this romance profiler? I'm like, yeah, man, there's a lot of lessons learned. And he's just like, that makes perfect sense. Cause you're all about, every time I talk to you, it's about a lesson. It's about something. And I'm like, well, man, I'm trying to get people not to make the same mistakes now, but it's also good, right? Like you make a mistake, you learn from it, but man, look from people's successes and mistakes. Like don't keep going down the same road, but
Dude, absolutely. That's what I love about this whole thing. Just making a PDSS for transition, a PDSS for writing a book, a PDSS for starting a freaking podcast, starting a show. And this transcends being a Green Beret and special operations. Like this is for every veteran out there. I want people to find and resonate with something that one of the guests shares and be willing to like come back and listen to the full episode, digest it, read a blog post, and be able to utilize it for their mission, their next great thing. Like it's such a monumental thing to go from service in the military into the civilian world. Like it's already filled with enough complexities. Like it's important to get stories like yours, Corey, be able to give people the motivation and drive to say, you know what? If he can write a book, I can write a book. Like the amount of times that I've heard stories from people be like, man, I picked up the pen, I was writing for a few years, and then I just stopped. And then you had so and so on the show. I'm getting mine back out there because the barrier to entry now, you can't say that you can self-publish. If you just need to get one out there to get the confidence to do the next one through a big publishing house, and get a big editor, just starting out. And the thing is, you can connect with freaking tons of people out there that want to help you, whether it's an editor, whether it's somebody that's ghostwriting a book for you.
No.
So
You put
many
on KDP, Amazon, all of a sudden you're going to get all these publishers.
Yeah.
What I would say is for anybody that's watching this, start with your memoir. Start with you.
Yeah.
Right? Start from the beginning and break it down into chunks, right? Because that's what I did. I'm still writing it, right? My kids are still, my oldest is 13, I have a 12 and then a 7. So I have plenty of years to get this memoir done, right?
Yeah.
So I just started it. But I can tell you, man, like, I'm just like, oh man, I didn't think about that when I was young. Oh, this would be a really good, thing for my kids to learn about me. Like, because it's not just for you. It can just be for you, but it should be for your family because they should get to know you. You don't need to publish it. But like doing something for your family, something like that they get to know you a little more. Because again, they just saw me cry for the first time with my dog. Like the first time, I have a 13-year-old. Like it's not a normal thing because we're guys, we're Green Berets, all that type of stuff. And so, but that dog, she made me vulnerable, right? Like it was writing and my dog. It's like man's best friend type of a concept. So it's like I think those were the two biggest things for me that helped me out transitioning. That and then finding that purpose, which was always my family. I didn't put them forward. I didn't do it. And I tell my wife that all the time. I'm like, you guys have always been my purpose. I just didn't realize like you should have gotten 100% of my purpose. And even when you go through these transitional courses, like all of a sudden they're like, you need to find your purpose. No, you have purpose. Like stop saying that you need to redefine your purpose or you need to find new purpose. Everybody has it. It's just, you're just not prioritizing it. That's the problem. So those are at least my lessons from how I got to here writing my book. And it hasn't been easy. There's been some hiccups along the way and I'm learning a lot from it. And I feel like if you're not learning, you're dying type of a concept. And so I'm always like creating, some type of new concept or idea.
Yeah.
Again, I have sticky notes. Dude, I have so many sticky notes. I'm just constantly, even here, sitting here, I'm like, oh man, damn it. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's the way to do it, man.
Prioritizing purpose. That's a great book idea. Oh man, trademark. Copyright. No one can use that.
It's mine.
It's all mine.
Website secured. I do have to ask
right now.
And is there a foreword by Mr. Guy Griffaw in the book?
Oh my God, man! Read The Ugly American. I know he would say that shit all the time.
I actually love that book now.
I do. I think it's a great book. I tell guys to read it all the time. If there's one
I read
book,
it before the course, and then I reread it there for that. And that was the best assignment. And I was like getting a high grade from him. That was fuck yeah.
He was a TED Talk on crack.
I wonder where he's up to, man. I bet you he'd dig the book.
Man, he's old as hell. I don't know, man.
I bet you he would. For those of you that aren't in the know, he was a very influential. I would say he was the shadow governor of the Special Forces Warrant Officer course. And I do have fond memories because this one thing I took away from our time there, he was sometimes grumpy. Sometimes he was a bit of a stickler in grades. But I dare I say, one of the reasons why I did so well focusing on my writing in my undergraduates and in my master's course, which I'm about to graduate here pretty soon, because those foundational days in that man's classroom. And shout out to you, Guy, wherever you're at, brother. Someday I'm going to have you on this podcast. I got to make that happen.
I don't know. I learned up front with him. I turned my paper in early and I got 100.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was going to be reading everybody's shit.
100%.
And then once it started once he started reading it started going down.
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah.
no, I'm gonna be the first
Get
one.
it in first.
Get it in first. And I'm like, he's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm like, sweet, awesome, right?
Fuck yeah. But that's the thing that I love about
when there was no AI.
Yeah, exactly. There was no chat GPT. You earned that grade from Mr. Griffaw. You earned that fucking grade from Mr. Griffaw. I know vast majority of you don't know who the fuck that is, but you should. There should be a little bit more, put some respect on that man's name.
Yeah.
Wherever he's at, helping us finally understand the importance of the English language.
Yeah. Nouns, verbs, adjectives.
It fucking matters, you.
It matters.
Oh man, Corey, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure, man. Before I let you go, please let us know the name of the book, when we can expect it, if it's out now, where can we go?
Yeah, so it's the Charlemagne Profiler. It's on Amazon. I publish it through the KDP Independent. It's published now, hardback, paper, and then audiobook. And I'm working with folks to do the audio because I know a lot of folks rather just listen to the concept. And then my future books, I have one coming out in April 2nd. That's going to be Don't Take My Time and Attention and Waste It. And then my second one will be June. Again, all these books are written, so I'm just doing the marketing, doing all that stuff now. But that next book for the nonfiction side is going to be Control the Controllable and Influence the Variables. I'm actually more pumped about those than I am about the Charlemagne Profile, even though my wife loved it. But I can tell you, when you get to chapter 15, my wife did call me and she bitched me out at work because she did not realize how much of a dark turn. I got a lot of dark things up here. It's in the book.
Got it right there, and I'm buying it right now.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
How can I get a signed copy, though? I need a signed copy.
When I see you, I'll give you a signed copy. That's kind of like I'm a man of my word. I'm still a Northwestern concept, like my man, like whatever I say, I do type of concept. So
nice. Well,
you guys,
I'm still heading over. I'm still gonna bring you over to the house to do an in-person one, but I am buying yours right now.
Yep. And I will sign it. I will sign it the next time I see you in person, not digital. I won't send you a digital. Won't be wet signature, but it'll be a. But no,
that'd be the greatest thing ever. If you just send me a freaking PDF file with your signature. Hey, PS, just staple this on the inside.
There you go.
It's the same thing, guy.
You didn't say how the signature had to be placed.
In fact, that's what I want now. Send me a PDF file.
And just staple that thing right on there.
Nobody will know the difference. Just staple it in there.
So when you move down, you get your studio all set up and all that type of stuff, man.
Heck yeah.
I'll come down, man.
I'll
make the time.
Nice,
you're not gonna take my attention and waste it, So just saying, book April 2nd.
I need to see the cover of that. There has to be a picture of you just like this, like.
Oh my God! I'm gonna text you after this because my wife made an avatar of me holding the book. Oh my God, that's so funny that you say that. Oh my God.
Oh man, Corey, thank you so much for being here, man. But more importantly, thank you for doing this, man. Thank you for being willing to go out there and show the rest of our brotherhood, our warrior tribe, that it's never too late to chase out your dreams, man. Get out there, write the next book. It doesn't have to be about the military. It can be about a million fucking things. Here's an idea. Take it from me. Write a story about a guy that gets out and works a cheese stick factory and then has a mental breakdown. Yeah, write that story. Want to know why? Because it'll be a fucking motivator. Next time I hear about one of you fucking dudes getting out and getting a job at a factory as a manager, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. You're meant for greatness. You're meant for great fucking things.
Dude,
don't become a manager at cheese stick factory.
Don't be scared, man. Don't be a self-select,
That's right. Go do great things, man.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Corey, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
we'll see you all next. Oh, wait a second. How am I doing? I'm fucking up my own fucking rhythm. Before I let you go, do me a favor. Pause the episode. It's almost already over. You know the spiel. Click those links. Send Corey a friend request and do me a solid. Leave me a review on Apple or Spotify. I don't care what you say. Denny's got a massive wiener. We know that's not true, but I'd appreciate it. Make sure it's 5 stars, not 1, because that's kind of a dick thing to do, man. What the fuck? I'm out here doing this for you, helping you out. So please help me. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now we can end it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Corey, for being here.
Thanks,
and we will see you all next time. Till then, take care.